What is up, Watch fam? I am Christian from Theo and Harris, and we're doing live Ask TNH. It's good times, guys. Happy Thursday, and let's get into this stuff. Let's do it. What do we have? A couple of questions. Actually, before you guys start seeing the questions, I want to jump into a couple of topics here. Uh, let's see. We're talking about the Bulgari Octo that was released in collaboration with Maserati. A really, really odd odd watch. I'm a big Bulgari fan. I think that Bulgari watches at the moment represent a wonderful opportunity for a brand that has been very mediocre over the course of the last kind of like 10 years plus. And I think that I put it this way: I like underdog stories. I like the idea of a brand that nobody really cares about, and if for any of the thought they put into them, it's mostly toward hate. I like when that company kills it. I like when that company starts to, really do very well and perform very well. So I'm obviously I'm rooting for Bulgari very, very much so. But they released this watch, and Jesus Christ, the juxtaposition between one of Bulgari's most interesting watches, this Octo Finissimo, which is now the world's thinnest mechanical movement, automatic at least. It was a super highlight, right? I mean, it was a case that was finished with like sandblasting. I mean, everything about it was just very interesting. This shape was interesting. The finishing was interesting. The movement was incredible. Had a platinum rotor. It was a world record holder. All these amazing things, right? It was a wonderful watch. And then it's followed by this watch that I just found, I think just today. This Bulgari chronograph, in collaboration with Maserati, and I saw this. I was just so bothered. I said to myself, why does this watch need to ever, be a chronograph? What about it? Why would that ever make sense? Why would that ever make sense? I don't think it makes sense. I have no conclusion. I have no advice for Bulgari on this. I don't think that the collaboration. Put it this way: I think that watch collaborations and collaborations as a whole are great. I think that Bulgari should be partnering with Maserati, but I don't think that adding a chronograph and putting it in blue is enough to warrant any sort of actual collaboration. Maserati could have done that for themselves. So I think that on that level, it was very, very lame and just uninventive, and it almost seems as if Bulgari's falling back into the old trappings of kind of like uninspired cheap watchmaking. So that really did bother me because I've been a very, very public endorser of Bulgari. So it sucks, but what are you gonna do? So let's get into some user questions. What is up, guys? Hello, Christian. What's the best vintage dress watch for starters? I don't think there is a best vintage dress watch for starters. There are plenty of wonderful ones. Depends on your budget. If your budget is really small, only $100, then I think that Timex will really suit you well. All jokes aside, I think that Timex will on many levels, get you used to wearing a watch or getting used to having fun with watches. It will make you not a snob. These are good assets. So I think that Timex is a great opportunity at $100. If you up the ante and you want to go up to 1,000, you want to go brand new. Stoa is great. If you want to go above that, Nomos is great. If you want to go vintage, Omega, Longines, there are some amazing vintage watches from both of those brands that are extremely undervalued. So I'm talking about $1,000 for a watch that should really probably cost $2,200. So that to me is obviously very, very valuable. You're talking about half the price of what it should be. So this is my Harvard mug. Check it out. I did not go to Harvard. This is not my. I mean, it's my mug, but I just bought it when I was in Boston, which is all kinds of weird. But why would I wear it? Why would I drink out of the mug of a different school? It doesn't. I'm not proud of them. They just happen to be an American. It's weird. Anyway, why not selling Seiko? Why don't I deal with Seiko? Seiko's a great brand. A lot of people love them. I think that I respect Seiko a lot in very different ways, but Ultimately, for a couple of reasons, I don't sell them. One, they are extremely difficult to service. So, from a profitability standpoint, I'm talking about investing probably, the amount of money you buy the watch for into servicing it. And so that ruins it. You're not marking these watches up very much. You're talking, 10 to 25%. So, if you have to, take your purchase price and then double it, the profit's just not there. There's nothing there that would to be able to sustain life. So that's one of the reasons. Another reason is I think that although they are beautiful and very well made, and I think that they represent value for their price point, I still think that their price at $1,500 oftentimes is a lot of money for a brand that a lot of people don't care about. So that's tough, whereas Omega, a big name brand that a lot of people care about, especially in America, at a grand, and Seiko at 1,500, even if Seiko's better, you're still selling people the Omega brand, and that means a lot. Yeah, oof, God. Sorry, guys, I'm just yawning. If money was not an issue, what would you get? What watch would you get? I sent off a white gold day date today, and I said to myself, "Wow, that is beautiful. That is a watch, man. This is a really really beautiful watch." So that's a watch that I would consider buying. I would love to get a white gold day date. Probably run me between $13,000. So say 10 and 13, depending on different variables, but that's really the price range I should be looking at, and I think that they're beautiful. I think that they're just as rich as the yellow gold day dates, but in a lot of ways they're just a little bit more, inventive. They take a couple more risks, and I like that. I think that there's a lot to be said about someone who is spending the same amount of money as someone with the yellow gold day date, if not more, and yet no one knows what it is. It's almost like a underground kind of thing. I think that's very cool and kind of humble in a lot of ways. Even though you're wearing a $12,000 watch, it's oddly humble. So sorry about the yawning, guys. My grandfather came up. I haven't been able to see my grandfather in a couple of well, like a week almost, which is uncommon. So he's been busting my chops. Oh, we have to hang out. We have to hang out. And I was like, oh yes, I really want to see you. So he came over today at 5. And we had a couple of glasses of wine, and naturally, I stopped drinking around 6:30, and then you just start going downhill, So I'm not drunk by any means, but it's just trying to catch back on the tired, you know what I mean? Just trying to kind of rally here, drink some coffee, and answer some of your questions. So my man, how you in it you? Not sure what you mean, buddy. Please clarify. Zenith Daytona investment potential, no doubt, no doubt. They're great watches. They're extremely valuable. I think they cost a lot less than they're worth. So yeah, I say cheers. Is there any value in older Piaget watches? My wrists are skinny and the 20. Yeah, that's a good question. Someone just asked, is there any value in an older Piaget watch? Now Piaget, I mean, ultimate watchmakers, ultra thin, super, highly finished, great stuff. Usually, yellow gold or white gold, precious metal, usually very small and very thin. So about 30 to 34 millimeters at most, and ultra thin. So these watches are very isolating. A lot of people don't like them. Because a lot of people don't like them, they represent an amazing opportunity in the market for affordability. They're not affordable necessarily. You're still going to run you $2,000 to $5,000, but you're talking about Patek value, for a lot less money. So I give Piaget a big thumbs up. I give Piaget a big thumbs up. Any vintage Tudor day date coming to the shop? No, not yet. No Tudor day dates at the moment. But I love the watches, and I would buy one in a second. How much would a 16031 two-tone from American Psycho cost? Probably around $4,000. It's tough. You ever sold watches from not your standard watch countries? Switzerland, Germany, Japan. Not really, not often. Those are my favorite, countries, probably in that order as well. Switzerland, Germany, Japan. So no, I don't really go off. I mean, America occasionally, but I don't really go off the beaten path. Kristen, what's your favorite book? My favorite book. Oh fuck. My favorite book is Men Without Women. It is a compilation of Ernest Hemingway short stories. It's awesome. It's really great. There are a couple of ones. I don't remember. Greatest city in the world, or greatest country in the world. There's another one about a woman who ends up killing her husband on a like a wildebeest hunt, a lion hunt in Africa. I forget the names of them, but they're very very good short stories. I love them. Anywhere from 1 page to 45 pages, and it's a wonderful compilation of stories. Hey Christian, any tips on spotting or buying vintage Tudor? Be careful. I mean, they're very very durable watches. They're wonderful watches, but I feel like they absolutely can be holes, money holes, because the name carries so much weight that the people are riding the wave now. Watches that really are in need of repair, watches that are worth very little, are being sold for double if not triple of what they're worth, and people are buying them, which is bad. Yeah, so I always tell people, spend the extra $200 for God's sakes. It'll save you so much money in the long haul. Save you so much money in 6 months. There's nothing worse, I think, than not nothing worse, but in the watch industry, there's very little worse than buying something, right? Really like saving up and spending $1,000 or $2,000 to find out you own a piece of junk. I mean, that sucks. I mean, that just fucking it just sucks. Makes you feel like shit. So I recommend people really save up and go for it. So if you notice, I'm not actually wearing a watch right now. I'm not wearing a watch because I literally took the watch off. I forgot that the watch that I was wearing needed to be sent off, so I literally took it over to UPS on my wrist with a box, and 3 boxes and the whole thing, and shipped it not too long ago, an hour ago, whatever. So it was, it was obviously very hectic. So that's why I'm not wearing a watch. But I was wearing the T&H white gold Day-Date. Beautiful, beautiful watch. Christian, you're making me yawn. Yeah, I'm making myself yawn too, man. Seriously. Christian, another YouTuber was talking very positively about Baume Mercier vintage's value prop. Your thoughts? No doubt. Vintage Baume Mercier represents a lot of value. Be careful. Again, once again, buy original. There are a lot of Franken Baume Merciers out there because the name has survived, because the name is still around and still successful. People want to copy them. So I say do be careful, but they are great watches. Yes. Your thoughts on the new Black Bay Bronze limited edition for Boucher Air? Great question. I'm doing an STNH on it on Monday, so watch that. But in short, I think that I think it's a great watch. It looks great. I think that the brown was ugly. Not ugly. I didn't like the brown very much. The blue's much better. But Tudor's just falling into this trap. They're falling into this trap of just making remake after remake after remake after remake of same watch, different color, same watch, different color, same watch, different color. So it's exhausting. It's exhausting. So my fiance and I love watches, but we don't have a ton of money to spend. I want to get him something special to wear for our wedding. Any suggestions? First of all, I'm glad you love watches. It's a wonderful hobby, especially one to share with a significant other. It's great to have common interests. What is your budget? Send me your budget and your style, and I'll give you some answers. I'll do my best. What's your thought on vintage jump hour watches? Great question. Vintage jump hour watches are incredible. They're very, very cool. The problem is, there are so many bad ones out there. They just can't be fixed. They never will be fixed. They're broken, or they're about to be broken. They're corroded. And that's it. But ultimately, the watches are so expensive. I mean, they are so expensive. Watches that may have been worth $400 10 years ago are now worth $3,000, which is astronomical. So it depends on what your style is, if it's worth it to you. But if it is, then I do recommend going for them because I don't see the market crashing anytime soon. There are very, very few good examples out there. So I do say it's a good buy. Christian, how would you get on all the models history? Like, how can you tell specific models? Specific models for Seamaster. All you do is you crack open the case back, and on the inside of the case back, you see a reference number when you're identifying a vintage Omega Seamaster. You have the reference number and you have the year typically, and you take that information and match it against the movements, and that's how you can tell if your vintage Omega Seamaster is legit. If I need somewhat specific vintage watch, if it is possible to make some kind of buying through you, yes. Yeah, if you're looking for a specific vintage watch, shoot me an email, info@theoandharris.com. I will do my best to help you. I can't make any promises. You could want something so obscure and so rare that I just will honestly tell you the odds of me finding it are very slim. But I do promise to do my best, and that I think counts for something. It counts for something. I sourced a blue 1601 for someone last week, a brown Thunderbird. I mean, there's some very, very cool watches that I've sourced recently for some people. It's not easy. It takes time, but I think that it is very much so worth it, Christian, talking about wedding watches, I'm planning it's getting on Jaeger LeCoultre tribute to 31 to celebrate the big day. Yeah, hard call, man. Hard call. Amazing watch, but try the internet. Try the internet, contact dealers, see if they have one, try to make a deal, try to just undercut, undercut, get an idea of where the prices are falling to see where the real market value is. Email a lot of people. It doesn't take very long. It'll take a long time as far as getting answers, but the actual emailing will only take you like an hour. So for an hour, if you can save, $500 or $300, it's a lot. So I think that's good. No Instagram today. Yes, today we're not doing an Instagram live. We will do it though a different day. Today we just don't have the capabilities, but we'll get back. We'll get back. Did not think you'd have the guts. Let's see. Did not think you would have the guts to address my question. What was your question, Chris Robnob? What are you talking about? Chris Robnob says I don't have the guts to address his question. Let's see, what the fuck was his question? Um, where is it? Repeat your question, Chris Robnob, and I'll answer your question. Oh, nice post about you on Ripoff Report. I see shilling on your YouTube is turning your reputation to shit. Just totally inaccurate. I think that if not to be disrespectful, but if you can read, you can tell, and it doesn't take a genius to realize that Ripoff Report is a ridiculous report. It's written by someone who could hardly spell. It's written by someone who's functionally illiterate. So it was written by someone who probably owned the website or had some sort of affiliation with the website. I got an email an hour after it was posted offering I think it was like $300 or $500 something like that for me to remove it. It's just blackmail. I'm not going to take it down. I'm not going to give you $300 or $500 of my hard-earned money so you can take down a post that you wrote. And then from there on out know that I will pay to get information taken off, and then they will have me on an annual schedule of $2,000 a year, for argument's sake, to take down ripoff reports. So no disrespect, Chris Robnob, but I'm disappointed that if you're over 13, if you couldn't tell that was a ridiculous report, but. Sorry. Thanks, Christian. Fuck the trolls. You're awesome, bro. No, thank you. Thank you, man. Seriously. The fact that you guys are even watching this means the world to me. And it really excites me, too. I'm just as excited, all the time. Seriously. Ignore Grobnob. He suckles on the government tits for welfare money. Well, I don't know who that is, so I'm not going to judge. Christian, what straps would you recommend, especially vintage or suede? Because I'm kind of disappointed at the quality of cheapest NATO straps. Cheapest NATO straps is really interesting. Some of their leather straps are really cool. Some of their suede straps are really cool. I buy 3 models from cheapest NATO, and I think that for the wholesale price that I get them at, they're great value. I think that they're great. I have one of my watches. My Omega is on a cheapest NATO strap, suede strap. So I think that's it's good. And for very little amount of money, it works. I don't always want to spend, 10, I don't 100, 300, $400, on a strap. It's not really my style. Always, sometimes, yeah, for a really special watch, that makes sense. But for everything, no, I can't. Just can't. You just can't. Your production in YouTube improved a lot. Thank you, man. When I graduated from college, which was last May, a year ago, I decided to really go all in and dedicate a lot of time, money, and resources, to YouTube. I think that YouTube is probably the most important medium out there. So, I went no hedge on it, and that's it. I'm winning. I'm winning on YouTube as far as subscribers. We only have 14.2 thousand, which is not a lot by any means. But the depth is just incredible. That's what wins. The depth on YouTube is just, it's incredible. There's no way to really know someone better, I think, on digital media than through YouTube. Instagram a little bit with stories, but YouTube is there, man. YouTube is there. So, cheers to YouTube. What do you think about Hodinkee's live Friday sessions? Truthfully, I watched the first one. I thought it was awful. I thought they totally missed the point, of live. I think it's supposed to be casual and, just back and forth. It's not supposed to look great or be perfect. It's supposed to just, be different in its, nature. It's supposed to be different in the way it communicates. I think they missed that. It doesn't matter if it's actually live. That's not the point. The point is the style of content. So they took their regular, content and they made it, live. So that was boring. What else do we have here? What up, Watch Fam? What is up, Watch Fam? What's up, Miguel? Uh, what do you think of the Date Just 41? I think that I think that it's obviously very respectful to the original Date Just. It looks just like most, the other ones. I do think that 41 is a little bit, I think the 41 is a little bit too big. I think it just looks like it's on steroids. I don't think the 41 looks very good on most people's wrists, but I think that some people can pull it off. I've seen one or two guys maybe wear a 40 or a 41, and it worked. But I do think it's too big for most people out there. So and frankly, I think that you can make a wonderful watch, and if it's just too big and doesn't look right, I mean, to me, why spend the money? Why spend the money? Um, do you think a rally strap would look good on the Hellbros? Yeah, I think the rally strap would look really fucking good on the Hellbros, man. Seriously, look great. Um, yeah, Andrew Vinny, you're right. It's like reading an article. Seriously, seriously. Andrew, how's the Rolex treating you? Let me know. I want to know how your Rolex is treating you. I sold this guy, this gentleman, Andrew. He's out in San Francisco. A wonderful vintage Rolex with these crazy alpha hands. I mean, original bracelet and everything. A beautiful, beautiful watch. And I think it was his first Rolex, which was a really cool moment for me. I love finding people their first Rolex. I deal with so many people that I deal with so many people, and many of them have 10 Rolexes, but being able to find someone their first Rolex is just an awesome moment. I mean, it's just to me, it's super cool. So Wilson, you and me are on the same page. Um, what do you think about the vintage white gold Cartier Tank Louis? It depends. I mean, they're wonderful watches. They're wonderful, wonderful watches. But a lot of them are very expensive. So the Tank Louis is not my favorite model. I love the Santos Dumont much, much more. I think that it's a much prettier and much more detailed and interesting watch. The finishing on the case is much better. It has something, whereas the Louis is a little bit more, relaxed. Um, what would your dream job be in the watch world? Good question. My dream job in the watch world is what I do right now, for sure. My this is the function. This is the function right now. This is it. I wouldn't want to work in any other way in the watch world. I don't think. I think that when TNH is over, God knows when that could be. It could be in 4 years, 5 years. I just don't know. When it does come to a close for me, and that part of my life is over. I don't know if I'll ever, be in the watch industry again. To me, it's just so much about the people. I love the business, but it's just so much more about the people. I don't think I would ever be able to not have a watch Instagram account. I'd always want a watch Instagram account. I always want an account that I could speak to the community and do YouTube just for fun. Like, forget the sales. Like, not even look to support myself on it, just to enjoy it. It's my hobby, but I can't say that it'll always be my career. I just can't say that. So sneak peeks for next week. Actually, I don't have them with me. Believe it or not, they are locked in the safe. So I'm sorry. It's very disappointing. I know. I'm terrible. But this week was a little bit of a mess. But next week I will tell you what's going up. We have an amazing Rolex Oyster Quartz Buckley dial. Crazy. I mean, the watch is mint. The condition on it is probably the best condition I've ever seen, certainly ever held on an Oyster Quartz. I'm talking about like basically new old stock. And on those watches particularly, condition is, I think, everything. I mean, on an Oyster Quartz, if it's not condition, what is it? Those cases are just so, intricate and cut and just perfect. So if you have a soft version, a version that's been too polished, to me it loses, all of its value. I just wouldn't buy one. So I think that, that is one of the, most amazing watches on the vintage Rolex market. Further, we have a beautiful Tudor Prince Oyster Date, 34 millimeters, sleek, sleek, sleek silver dial, a little bit of patina, original tritium lume on the hands and on the hour markers. The beautiful puffy dots, crazy good stuff. What else do we have? We have another Rolex hitting a Tiger's Eye dial, a really crazy watch. Actually, I have the watch right here. Hold on one second. I actually had the Rolex, the Tiger's Eye watch. Check this out. I think that this is just so beautiful. It looks like a dial from like Van Cleef and Arpels, which is just so crazy looking. I'm a huge fan of this watch. I was wearing it. I wore it all day last week, and I just could not get over the I don't know, just like how different it is. It looks like something that like Robert De Niro would have worn in like Casino, and something I certainly don't see very often. So this watch will also be listed next week. What else? Chronograph. I mean, there are a couple of awesome pieces. I just don't remember it. But someone wants to know gold plating on vintage Tudor. Should I be worried? No. I'm a vintage Omega. Should I be worried? No. No, I don't. I don't think so. Gold plated were fine. Fine watches. Fine watches. Most of the time, though, even when the plate wears through, it looks just fine. And if usually they don't even wear through. So I don't. I wouldn't worry about it. Would TNH be carrying any watches that are sort of below $500? Not often. I'm sorry, buddy. Not often. I don't know when the next one would be. I'm sorry, but I do hope that I can help you. What do you know about Boucherer? I know that Boucherer is I think they're Swiss. Just a jewelry company. I don't really know anything about them. I've never been there. Um, is it because he doesn't bother answering my questions or he can't see my comments? I'm John Cena. What? Favre? Yeah, no, I'm sorry, buddy. I didn't see your message. I don't really have too much of an opinion. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. A few weeks ago, you had a Marcel at Sea to Sell. Is the brand difficult to find? I would like to have one because my grandfather was called Marcel, and he was a jeweler. Can you help? Good question. Wow. It is a hard brand to find. It is. I might have one locked away. Shoot me an email at info@theoandharris.com and I will look. I might have one. But I don't. I don't know. Give us a 10-second wrist shot, please. You mean this? It's beautiful. Like I said, tiger's eye, yellow gold case, original buckle. This is an amazing watch. I mean, this is the kind of Rolex that you will probably never see on anyone else's wrist. And I think there's something very, very charming about that. I think there's something very alluring about the idea of owning something by a massive brand that everyone knows, but a model that no one's ever seen. I think that's very, very cool. So I do think that this is I think this watch will sell quickly. It's not cheap. I mean, it's like a $3,500 watch, but to me, is it the one watch someone can own? I don't think so. Certainly not myself. But if you have a collection and you have some variety and you have some variation, this is a watch, man. This is a watch for you. I mean, that's just how I feel. Thoughts on a diamond dial Datejust? It depends, vintage or modern. Either way, if you like it, then go for it. But I'm not a big fan. Um, Have you ever had a brand approach you after a negative rant? Yes. Yeah, I've had brands approach me after negative and positive. Most of the time they're very, very courteous. Sometimes they're just like robots. Like, thank you for the review. Can I ask why you were negative? I'm like, well, watch the fucking review. You know. Um, but that's just how it is. Um, Opinion on the Longines Conquest Heritage. Which one was that? Was that the Black Dial watch that I spoke about last week? There are so many Longines, that are out there that I just that right now at the moment in the Heritage line that it's hard to tell the difference between so many of them. I don't remember. I have to see a photo. But I, honestly, either way, though, I think they're both great. They represent great value. I think that Longines watches are wonderful on the aftermarket. If they're in great condition and the movements are solid, they require no servicing, they're a big old-fashioned buy. A heavy, heavy buy. Just because they're so cheap. I mean, you're talking about, not cheap, but they're so approachable. You're talking about $800, and you have yourself a really classically designed vintage Longines. I mean, how do you beat that? In a modern sense, in a 40 millimeter case or a 38 millimeter case. So, I do think that, yeah, comparable to a vintage Omega in price, it's a good buy. It's a good buy. I would still go vintage. It's just my style. I think that the history and the significance behind the watch is more important. But, it's up to you. What do you think about Panerai as a whole? I like a lot of Panerais, but as a whole, they're underwhelming to me. But I like a lot of Panerais. I do. There are a lot of watches that I look at and I'm like, oh yeah, I'd wear that. I'd wear that in a second. They're too big for my wrist though, so I couldn't wear them. Vintage or modern homage to vintage Longines? Vintage Longines is better than modern homage, but modern homage is good though. It's a lot better than other things in the market. So cheers to them. But let's do two more questions, then I'm going to sign off. So let's do this. Um, what do we have here? Uh, is a Rolex Midas hard to source? Yes. The Elvis Presley watch. Yes, the Rolex Midas is a hard watch to source. I've never had one. I've seen them before. I've seen them in white. I've seen them in yellow. But yeah, they're hard to source. They're not easy, and you're going for a lot of money. But I think that they are very valuable watches, considering how rare they are. I mean, they're solid gold. They're super rare, and I think that one day they could be very desirable. I think that that's the kind of watch that a single investor could change the market on, because there are so few out there. So with a couple $100,000, and the ambition to own the market, it could be done. And which is really interesting. So it could be done. Does Hodinkee take money, Christian? I feel like they never had anything negative to say about big companies. Yeah, but I mean, everyone knows that Hodinkee, takes ad money, but that's nothing to be ashamed of. Everyone that can does take ad money, so that's a wonderful thing. I mean, do I think that Hodinkee could be more negative? Yes. I don't agree with their outlook on kind of the world. I think that Ben said it in an article one time. He said, uh, criticizing is something like uninventive commentary or some shit like that. And I just couldn't disagree more. I mean, I don't, it's not your problem. It's not your problem to offer a better solution all the time. It's just not. Critiquing something and telling them why they're wrong, I mean, is a service. I mean, that's a service. It's a wonderful service. So no, as someone looking to make 6 to 9 minute YouTube videos, no, I don't need to explain why I think you're wrong and then present a plan as to how to fix it. I'll throw in a couple of pieces of advice. I'll take a couple of I'll throw an idea out there, but no, I'm not going to sit down and draw out a plan, because I also know that if I start doing that, I'm going to have to do a terrific job. I'm going to have to do the best job I can. So it's going to take forever. So I just don't agree with their outlook there. I think you can post an article or a video that's just critiquing, that just says this is wrong and this is why I think this is wrong. I think that it's ignorant to just say something's wrong and then just drop the mic, but without explanation. It's not even fun. It's stupid and it's dumb. But I think that if you take a second and explain, okay, for example, I talked about Bulgari earlier on today's episode, and then a couple of weeks ago on an episode, and I said that it was wrong that they only have one Instagram account. And I think that Bulgari, if they added a new Instagram account, would do a wonderful job, and it'll actually focus, or make themselves more of a player in the watch business, because so much of the watch industry lives on Instagram, and no one's going to want to follow Bulgari because one out of every 19 photos is of a watch. The other 18 are of perfumes and women and hair. So watch people don't care about that. So that was my proposition to them, and that was me helping them a little bit. But no, you can't always just propose a different thing. What do we have here? Critiquing is a service which businesses pay consultants company for. Absolutely, you're absolutely right, Matt. I mean, Matt's 100% right. Not everything is is beautiful and easy. Oh, you guys are doing great. No, sometimes you're fucking it up and you're doing a shitty job. So I think that's fine. Being Italian, do you hate American pizza? No, I mean, I just don't look at it the same kind of way. I mean, I've had pizza in Naples. I think it's delicious. It's just different. I think it's better in many ways. But I eat American pizza in just a different way. I love kicking back, watching a movie with a bottle of wine with a friend, and getting a pie. I mean, an American greasy cheesy pie. It's delicious. But I don't look at it as pizza napolitana. That's for sure. Christian, I've looked on eBay for Rolex listings, and my gut feeling is that 90%, if not more, are fake. I'm not going to give a number. 90% is crazy. I mean, for me, I just can't give a number. But yeah, a lot of them, if they're not fake, they're incorrect. I mean, most of them. And if they're not fake or incorrect, they're unreliable. Are there some great watches out there on eBay? No doubt. I'm sure there are. I've purchased some wonderful watches on eBay, few and far between, but still, they are out there. But I wouldn't rely on it for a primary source of watches. To me, it's just it's nuts. I think you've got to be nuts to take that many shots in the dark, to extend your trust to that many people you don't know is crazy, in my opinion. But thoughts on the future of Breitling? I don't have any thoughts yet. I wish them the best, but I don't have any thoughts yet. I guess we'll see. But one more question. Good question, Frank Salazar. What was Frank Salazar's question? I don't see it. What is the cheapest watch you would get serviced? You know what? I would service anything. I'm servicing right now a watch that I bought for a very small amount of money. I think I paid $60 for it, and I'm gonna put in $350 to the watch. Because that my cost will then be 400, and if I can sell it for $100, I mean that's a $100 more. It's a great day. It's just fun. It's gonna take me 3 months, beginning to end. So I tied up that money for 3 months, but I think that at the end of it, the watch is gorgeous. I mean, the watch is beautiful. So I do think that the person who buys it will be very lucky. But it's a tough decision because of the time it could take, and really, if you're looking to sell it and you're a private person, it's very, very difficult because you don't have control over your watchmaker. Your watchmaker and you don't have a great relationship. So what if they do something that was wrong? They replace it with a movement that was wrong. I mean, it could be a disaster. So I'd say be careful, but if you know what you're doing, yeah, buy a cheap watch and service it. Buy a cheap watch. There's no problem with that. But that's it, guys. I'm going to sign off. Thank you so much for watching Ask TNH Live. I love doing this with you guys. I actually got my energy back toward the end. A lot of fun. Truly a lot of fun. Do not forget to check out the. I'm sorry. In the metal tomorrow. Don't forget to check out In the Metal. It's going to be a wonderful episode. It's about a beautiful vintage Tudor Oyster York that we just kind of got a couple of weeks ago. Actually, a month and a half ago. A black radium dial. The video is going to be insane. It's going up tomorrow morning, 7 a.m. So don't miss it. But that's it. Thank you guys so much for tuning in, and I will catch you all soon. Adios.